Tonight, a Larry Barker investigation. It was supposed to be $1 million City of Albuquerque project, but all there is to show for the money is an abandoned construction site and a weed-choked concrete slab. Here's Larry's investigation.
That is a real abuse of taxpayer dollar.
I don't think that anyone screwed up.
This is sad because this didn't have to happen.
It's an ill-conceived government project so obscure few people have ever seen it. It's hidden away in Sandoval County, and don't look for signs, there aren't any. You have to cross the Corrales drainage ditch and follow a dirt trail about 1/8 of a mile.
To this rural spot in Corrales, where there's supposed to be a brand new 6,000 square foot museum visitor center. Instead, all you'll find is an abandoned construction site. If you want to see firsthand how the city of Albuquerque took in $1 million and then squandered it, then drop in on this weed-choked concrete slab.
What has happened with the slab reflects that it was not responsible.
Senator John Arthur Smith chairs the Legislative Finance Committee.
Senator, is this how government is supposed to work?
No, it's exactly how government is not supposed to work.
At center stage of this controversy is Casa San Ysidro, an 18th century adobe hacienda in the village of Corrales. In the 90s, the property was donated to the city of Albuquerque to be operated as a city museum.
Albuquerque's acquisition of this historic site presented a series of challenges. First, it's an Albuquerque museum that's not in Albuquerque. Second, because it was built hundreds of years ago, Casa San Ysidro is not ADA compliant. And third, there's no central heating or cooling. The solution? Build a visitor center.
The Martin Chavez administration lobbied the state legislature to fund the project. Former Senator Steve Comedina was one of the sponsors.
When we looked at the Casa San Ysidro Museum, the question was how to get more people there and how to make it a more meaningful experience. And a visitor center just made sense.
Beginning in 2004, state legislators approved more than $1.2 million for Albuquerque's new museum annex. The city hired an architect to plan and design the project, and in 2009, city construction crews broke ground.
But shortly after pouring the concrete foundation, city officials sent the work crews home, shelved the plans, and pulled the plug on the whole project. That was 7 years ago. Today, the only visible reminder of the $1.2 million Casa San Ysidro Visitor Center is the concrete slab.
Just like that, the city's $1 million museum project was dead. What happened? Well, shortly after construction began, Mayor Chavez was defeated. And when Chavez left office, interest in the Corrales-based visitor center left with him. Albuquerque's current chief operating officer, Michael Reardon, claims the city never really wanted that $1 million in the first place. He says legislators decided on their own to hand the city a gift.
The city requested funds from the legislature to build this building, yes?
No, we never requested funds to build this building.
So at no time did the city say, hey, we want a visitor center. Legislature, give us some money.
Not that I'm aware of.
Former Senator Comedina remembers it differently.
Do you recall the request for funding for that visitor center? Do you recall that?
Absolutely. I distinctly remember it was the director of the museum plus members of her board. And they actually came to us in the legislature and asked us for money.
With $1 million pot of money available, the city spent about $400,000 on the architectural plans, labor, and materials.
So what did Albuquerque do with the rest of the legislative money? Well, nothing. Rather than spend the remaining $800,000 and begin construction, Albuquerque stockpiled the state funding.
It wasn't until 2009 that the city finally got around to laying the concrete using maintenance workers. By then, the state's economy had tanked. Because the city had not even hired a contractor for the job, lawmakers took the money back.
Because we didn't have a third-party contract, that's the excuse they gave for fleecing our money away from us and not allowing us to continue construction on this.
Bottom line, why did the legislature take back a lot of the money that was appropriated for this project?
We clawed that money back because local government did not provide us with proof that the project was underway.
With the loss of funding, Albuquerque officials knew they did not have enough money to complete the building. Nevertheless, they began construction anyway. They only got as far as a concrete pad.
They proceeded ahead with the project, knowing full well that the revenues were not there to support the completion of that project.
Dana Feldman is the newly appointed director of Albuquerque's Cultural Services.
There has been no progress made on the concrete slab in the last 6 years. When the funding was reverted, the momentum for the project also diminished.
In fact, there hasn't been any momentum or interest in the project ever since Mayor Chavez left office.
Are you going to finish this project during this administration?
Not with city taxpayer dollars, no.
We had every intention of pouring that slab and then starting the construction on the visitor center. I can understand what it is to come to that site and see that slab year after year. I can understand that it's frustrating. I can understand that people have questions. Why is it just the slab? I can understand that.
It was not the state that came in and poured the concrete. It was the city of Albuquerque, and that's where the responsibility has to fall. With that being said, there's still no excuse for wasting the slab dollars by not completing the project.
Larry Barker, KRQE News 13.
For a closer look at the renderings for what the project should have looked like, check out our KRQE News app. Wow.